Because what you're basically saying is the men who built this country, built this world, average men don't get what average men have always gotten. I got a real freaking problem with that. I got a real freaking problem with that. When your grandfather and great grandfather, who was born in the 1800s or early 1900s, they barely had a sixth grade education and they got femininity and submission. And so did men. Today's men make more money than they've ever made, than men have ever made in mass, but women are saying they deserve less. Okay, how much do you charge for your submission?
Hey, good day, everyone. You already know who it is. It's your boy, Key Nigel of Sigma Male Diaries. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to follow me on the following platforms: Spotify, Red Circle, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Stitcher, as well as Reason FM, and check me out on Podpage. I'm on Podpage as well. I'm also on the Cast, and I'm also on Audrey. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a brief discussion with a friend of mine on Messenger on Facebook. He's a good dude and everything. He's what they consider, a good guy. And, I understand this whole notion of where he's coming from in regards to his personality and what he feels should be, equal amongst men and women, even in relationships and or marriages, right? So I had a brief discussion with him to explain to him that for men, it's a whole lot harder for a man to find a good woman versus a woman finding a provider male, a leader, a protector. He does his part, right? He does these things in a traditional manner. But as I said before, it's a lot of modern women out here that want traditional men, right? But they not traditional women. They don't put a man first. They're not cooperative. They're not submissive. They're not willing. They're not fit. They're definitely not friendly, right? So what I told him is that, if I was looking at a woman and a man in a relationship or a marriage, that whole 50-50 stuff is more or less what women want. The women who has this whole feminist mindset, right? That they can do the same things that men do, far as in a relationship or marriage. They can have their own money. They can be educated as far as having degrees. Some of these women are single mothers who, always took charge in their own household, right? So they're not really good at taking, authority from a man. They're not good leaders when it comes to that, as far as saying, a traditional woman would want a leader, a provider, an alpha male, type of thing, whereas a masculine woman, a modern woman, she's more of the leader of whatever she got going on. So you're going to bump heads. So I explained to him that when you look at the whole notion of of pedestalizing a woman, or putting a woman above you as a man, where you're the leader, the provider, the protector, like being as a desired man by, some women, especially, in your area where you live at, right? And, if you looked at to do all these things, women can't protect men like men can protect women. Women can't provide for a provider male like a provider male could, provide for her, and so on, but it's kind of hard for some of these guys to see these things, whereas we're not equals within a marriage and a relationship. A man has his specific roles, and a woman has her roles. But some of these modern women are very masculine, as I said before, and they're very defiant. They want to allow a man to lead. They'll tell you quick, after nigga this, I got my own this, I got my own that, so I don't need a man for nothing. Like I said, those women are less cooperative, and then when you bring up the whole notion of a traditional woman being submissive, they look at it as being a slave. Why should I listen to you? I got my own doing this. You're not doing nothing for me, right? So I told him, if you look at it like this, if you're the head in a relationship first, a leader, why would you put another person above you? Why would you pedestalize a woman? Why would you praise her to the degree because she may be doing certain things that you never received before from another woman? But those are the things that's natural to certain women. You know what I mean? Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I go any further with the podcast and video, I'm going to have a video that was made by Kevin Samuels yesterday on the 28th of April. And this goes to explain the difference of how traditional women knew their roles, right? They were feminine, they were cooperative, they were submissive, and they understood these things because that's, their nature. They were in tune with that. But in today's time, how much is it going to cost a man for a woman's femininity? How much is a woman going to charge a man for femininity? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the video with Kevin Samuels. Let's go.
What am I showing you? That in the turn of the 20th century, you saw a boom in the 20s. You saw the aristocracy, the first real wealth. Wealth distribution really changed in America. Why is this important? Because enough people don't realize, the history, understand the sociology of human beings. You think this stuff just happens. To where now you have 100% of women who used to understand what their role was going to be because their mother, their grandmother, and for generations back, that's what you did. And men knew what their profession was going to be. You got choice. And with choice comes responsibility. But you had to give up something for that freedom. Women ended up leaving the production, going into the housewife. As women had it. The women who could do that had it better, but then what did women want? In the 20s, you had the suffrage movement, first wave feminism. Women wanted to be removed from the house. They wanted to go work. Now, you were spared from the plow to be a housewife, but now you want to go back to the plow. No, you didn't want to go to the plow. You wanted to go to the office. Women didn't want to do the dirty jobs. They wanted to do the jobs that they romanticized men did. Fine. And that has been with us. What men do, women tend to want to do. The better parts of it. Why is this important? Because men at the top have always had to marry down. Men up the top have always had to marry down. Women at the top don't want to marry down. They want to marry at the top. Well, if you're at the top of the socioeconomically, if you're in the top 10%, the only above you is 5, 3, and 1. Why is all this important? Because we have talked ad nauseum about high value men and women and what women want. But the notion that if you don't make enough money, if you don't make over 6 figures, you don't deserve submission. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Where in the history of civilization have women who were average, below average, average, and above average ever been able to tell men that you don't deserve femininity? Submission is a trait of femininity. Just like leadership and protection is a trait of masculinity.
So what's the whole context of even doing this whole thing when the majority of these women don't even want an average salary earning man in the first place? 90% of these women want men making at least 6 figures. Here you have these guys making 75,000, 65,000, they simping. They trying to do this whole thing, what they call applying pressure, wasting their time and everything. And they don't see the real logic as a man. You control the relationships and marriages because women look for men to pursue. It's not the other way around. So if a man is in pursuit of a woman, then that man is determining that he wants to be in a relationship with that woman or not. Because you have some women that are aware of men not wanting them, but they'll still try their best. They go above and beyond and all out their way to get this man attention. Like, I want to be with you. You're going to be with me. You understand what I'm saying? And then when that guy be like, no, you cool, this, that, and the third, you all right, but I don't want a relationship. Then she go back to her own little spot, her own little space, and they become a victim. When this guy's action shows clearly that he doesn't want a relationship, those are the guys that they consider the bad guys, the bad boys. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're this good guy and you on social media pedestalizing women, it looks good, it sounds good, but are those women gravitating to you? Those women are raised to not want these type of guys. They want the guys that they have to go and get their attention. You know, it been so many circumstances where guys been ghosted, guys been used, you know, they've been called simps. You know, they allow the women to take control of everything, so you got the beta males and everything. You know what I mean? Any type of man could be a simp. It doesn't matter whether you're beta or alpha or whatever type of personality there are out there for men. Listen, if you're going above and beyond to get a woman's attention, man, and you're not benefiting from that whole thing, utilizing your time, attention, effort, resources, and all that other good stuff, man, listen, and you're doing it for free, basically, you're simping. And that's just how it goes.
But today you got women saying you don't get their feminine submission without paying for it. Fine, ladies, how much do you charge? Instagram, ladies, how much do you charge for your submission? If you are a 4, 5, or 6, that puts you roughly around the average. That is roughly 60% of women. 60% of women fall between the 4, 5, and 6 range and below. 50% of women are 5 and below. 40% of women are 6 and below. 60% of women are 4 and below. Most of you ladies watching this right now or the rebroadcast are average by what men judge. But I want you to understand how we got here. Women have been given the notion that because they can do what men do, they should be able to get what men get. Well, if you're up here socioeconomically, you automatically as a woman need to be expecting to marry down happily. But we're here for the average women. Because the 8s, 9s, and 10s, they don't charging for submission, that's different. Let's get to it. How much does your submission cost? How much do you charge for your submission, ladies? Next, ladies, how did you set your price? How did you set your submission price?
So why be under the context of you feeling like, well, okay, these women are our queens, man, but these women don't even respect you. They don't even want you. They bypass you to go after Pookie and Ray Ray. We all hear about these things each and every day. We see these things. It's on YouTube, social media, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, these women is going hard. Emasculating men and everything. Talking about them, calling them this, that, and the third. You know, especially when they approach them. Some of these women are not even approachable. Especially if they're not attracted to you, they looking at you as a stalker, as a weirdo, you know, all this other crazy stuff, man. But because they're women and they're protected by so much stuff out here in the society, they can just say whatever they want about a man and get away with it. But when men start speaking up and saying, you know, this, that, and the third, then now it's a problem. Because society made women too comfortable. So now that men are standing up saying, yeah, you're right, you know, or whoever they're speaking to, or whoever they agree with. Yeah, why should I go above and beyond and say all this good stuff about them and they talk down on us and I don't even know them, I never even done anything with them, and all of a sudden, you know, you include me as in a form of generalization of all men? I mean, that's how hurt these women are. So why now go this far, go above and beyond to say all these things about a woman that you're not even, you know, leading, providing, or protecting? Like, this doesn't make sense, man.
Because see, it's funny to me that women can talk about if you don't make enough money, you can't call shots. Okay? And when I hear men say this stuff, I start to get pissed off. Because what you're basically saying is the men who built this country, built this world, average men don't get what average men have always gotten. I got a real freaking problem with that. I got a real freaking problem with that. When your grandfather and great-grandfather, who was born in the 1800s or early 1900s, they barely had a 6th grade education, and they got femininity.
And you know, not all women are going to listen to you regardless of what you put up there, like I said, or regardless of what you say. When I say put up there, I'm saying as far as posting on social media. Come on, man. That's the problem. Social media, these women is getting so much attention from all types of guys to where, yeah, you one guy saying this, man, but it's 100 other simps to this whole one woman. You know what I'm saying? Or 1,000, or 10,000, or hell, 1,000,000. You understand what I'm saying? And not one of them guys is scoring. So what's the whole point? I mean, you should focus on your life, do the things that you want to do, and when you get your woman, that's the woman you build, long as she's building with you, though. Long as she's cooperative, submissive, long as she's a wife. Don't just give any and every woman your attention for nothing. That's too much energy. Just focus on yourself and do you. I mean, just be the best man you could be for yourself. And when that time comes, that time comes. But other than that, man, it's like pedestalizing women just in general. I mean, that's just a waste of time for a whole lot of men. If you're not making 120K, 300K, man, listen, those women don't give a hell. I mean, they don't give a damn about what you're saying, what you're posting, man, because that's not what they want.
Because see, it's funny to me that women can talk about if you don't make enough money, you can't call shots. Okay? And when I hear men say this stuff, I start to get pissed off. Because what you're basically saying is the men who built this country, built this world, average men don't get what average men have always gotten.
And they make that quite clear. Yeah, you're okay, but you're just not my type. Or you're all right, we could be friends. I mean, come on, man. And dudes study doing this shit. It makes other men like, this is what they would expect from other men. Because these guys doing it, they looking at other guys to do the same thing or be the same way. And when you got men saying like, listen, nah, that whole thing you got going on, but that's a bunch of bullshit. I'm not doing that. Oh, you must be gay, or they go to bashing, shaming, insulting, throwing guilt trips and all that other stuff because of prior or previous men before that try to get at them. They recognizing the whole theory that they really can't have it all. Now they get mad. So, fellas, you got to be mindful. Be careful, man. Utilize everything that you have, your energy, time, effort, resources, attention, and all that other stuff. If I said attention twice, my bad. You know what I mean? But, listen, focus on you, man. Because if they want you, you'll have them. Simple as that. And if they feel as if in their mind you don't have enough because they compare you to all these other men, their inboxes on their posts and all this other stuff, man, yeah, go ahead. Do what you got to do. But don't say I didn't tell you so. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the video is about to end very shortly, as well as the podcast. But I want you guys to have a deep thought about what I'm about to have a recap on earlier in the portion of the video, ladies and gentlemen. But fellas, pay very close attention to this, and then you'll understand why some men have even the issue of men putting women on a pedestal, especially a woman that's not even yours, especially a woman who haven't even earned the spot in your life that have your last name. But here's the message that I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to hear. Here's a recap.
If you are a 4, 5, or 6, that puts you roughly around the average. That is roughly 60% of women. 60% of women fall between the 4, 5, and 6 range and below. 50% of women are 5 and below. 40% of women are 6 and below. 60% of women are 4 and below. Most of you ladies watching this right now or the rebroadcast are average by what men judge. But I want you to understand how we got here. Women have been given the notion that because they can do what men do, they should be able to get what men get. Well, if you're up here socioeconomically, you automatically as a woman need to be expecting to marry down happily.
And this is your host, King Nigel of Sigma Male Diaries. Listen, some of you might like what I say, then again, some of you might not. But I don't give a fuck. You already know this, man. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, y'all stay safe and be blessed. That man. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Kevin Summers, everybody. And go over to his YouTube channel and subscribe. Thank you and have a blessed night.
Yo, Franco, here we go.